County City Council regular meeting, April 10th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
and roll call.
Mayor Elmanin,
Present.
Councilmember Becker, Councilmember Howard, Councilmember Flowey,
Here.
Councilmember Kangas,
Here.
Councilmember Dietz,
Here.
Councilmember Ganavante.
All right, can I get a motion for approval of the agenda, please?
Motion.
All right, Dave.
Second.
All right, Matt seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, number 5, public comment, 3-minute limit, please stand up to the podium. I'd like to ask first and foremost, I know a lot of us are gonna talk about fluoride again this evening. If there's any public comment outside of the fluoride, I'd like to entertain those first, and then we can jump into the fluoride conversation. If not,
I'll go.
all right, sounds good, thank you.
I just wanted to come and introduce myself. I know some of you probably know, my name is Chris Holmes, I work for UP Engineers, worked with the city for the last couple of years on stuff, but I know since the last election, I'm faces here, so I just wanted to say hi and introduce who I am, and that's all, so, thank you.
Hey, very good, thank you.
Chris.
All right, any further public comment outside of, if not, Gary, you can have the floor. Go ahead.
Okay. Carrie Plummer, 566 Bluff Street, reading some excerpts from The Untold Story of Fluoridation from PubMed 2018. Only 50% of the daily ingested fluoride is excreted through the kidneys. The remainder accumulates in bones, the pineal gland, and other tissues. A diseased kidney is unable to effectively excrete fluoride, so individuals with compromised kidneys are at risk of developing fluorosis even at normal recommended limit of 0.7 parts per million, which is what we add to the Ishpeming-Nittany water supply. 14-year research carried out by Harvard showed a significant link between fluoridation and a rare form of bone cancer called osteosarcoma in young boys. Dental fluorosis is not only a cosmetic defect, its psychological impact on the child has been established. The CDC declared that in the second half of the 20th century, the steep decline in dental decay in the U.S. can be attributed to fluoridation. However, the most common explanation for the worldwide declining trend was the wide distribution of fluoride toothpaste, but serious research later attributed at best 40 to 50% of the caries reduction of fluoride products. Once fluoride is put in the water, it is impossible to control the dose each individual receives. Some individuals appear to be highly sensitive to fluoride, including the elderly, diabetics, people with poor kidney function. Those most likely to suffer from poor nutrition are the poor, who are precisely the people being targeted by new fluoridation programs. While being at heightened risk, poor families are less able to afford avoidance measures, for example, like eliminating bottled water or using bottled water or fluoride removal equipment. Studies have shown an association between the use of fluorosilicic acid and its sodium salt to fluoridate water and an increased uptake of lead in children's blood. Fluoridation of community drinking water is considered unethical because individuals are not being asked for their informed consent prior to medication. And what I'm asking the council is just to have a special meeting, a public hearing, if you will, where we can all talk about this on both sides of the issue. And I checked this, the charter, the city charter section 5.3. The mayor, the city manager, or 3 city council members can request a special meeting. Now, we've already reached out to the city manager and he just said no. So I'm reaching out to the city council, the 3 members possibly who can work together on this, or the mayor yourself, which we've spoken multiple times, just to have a public hearing discussion on it, as many other municipalities have done recently, and many have decided to end fluoridation. But at the very least, we would just like to speak about it. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you, Carrie.
Hi, Jeff Plummer, 566 Bluff Street, Nagani, longtime resident. Once again, I wanted to talk briefly and to strongly encourage our city council to put a discussion about water fluoridation on the agenda or as a special meeting. Section, as Carrie pointed out, section 5.3 does allow either the mayor, the city manager, or three city council members together to call for a special meeting. This would be a nice thing to do so the entire community can be alerted to it and have their opinions about water fluoridation heard. You don't even really, as a council member, have to have a strong opinion, one way or the other, about what fluoride does or doesn't do. You just have to know this is an extremely important issue to a very large number of Nagani citizens. I think a very, very large number. We did reach out recently to the city manager, who would not meet with us to discuss this issue, because he apparently feels that this is not the direction the city council wishes to go. I'm curious to know if the city council really feels this issue and that many citizens' concerns would be ignored. I believe our city council wants to listen to the public. I trust all of you feel that way. And that would go a long way to providing the confidence just to have a special meeting. As we can all see, we could all come here, public comment every month, and go back and forth. And we could just have one really nice special meeting that everything could be vetted and everyone could be heard. So there is more and more science coming out showing that the harms of this toxic chemical being intentionally added to our drinking water, and this science should not be ignored. I believe this is a serious moral and ethical issue, and our citizens deserve true informed consent and absolute transparency regarding this chemical additive. And so a special meeting, I believe, would be appropriate, and I would really appreciate it if you all would consider that. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hello, everybody. Ashley Brittlinger, 100 Croy Street. I'm actually the owner and only dentist at Nagani Family Dentistry, right across from Teal Lake. I see Nate at the dock quite frequently. I've been practicing in Marquette County for 10 years, and the last 6 of those have been in Nagani. The efficacy and safety evidence for fluoride is very clear. It is a cost-effective and safe way to decrease the incidence of caries. There's been a lot of misinformation surrounding these facts. I've read many articles that have been posted both by pro-fluoride and anti-fluoride groups. And what I've been finding is oftentimes the headlines that you see or the titles of these articles are very misleading. The facts within these articles all truly do support community water fluoridation. One example was an article posted yesterday on the Facebook group Fluoride Free Ishpeming and Nagani. The title of the article was The Decline of Caries Prevalence After Cessation of Water Fluoridation in the Former East Germany. This article does state that when fluoride was removed from the community water source, that there was a continued decrease in caries prevalence. Proponents against community water fluoridation will use this as evidence that fluoridated water isn't providing the benefits that we all believe it is. The article does go on to state that at the same time fluoride was removed from the water, that they started fluoridating the salt in the community. They increased availability and application of topical fluoride varnishes, dental sealants, and providing more oral health education. This is their explanation for why there was still a decrease in the caries rate. If we are to remove fluoride from our community, I would hope that the board is prepared to come up with some programs to help, pay for extra public health measures to continue to combat the caries risk. Another area that I would like to speak on is access to care. For several decades, there were 3 dentists in Nagani. We have Dr. Gould here, there's Dr. Collins, Dr. Lafreniere. They all practiced in Nagani for the last 30 years. They have all retired. I'm now the only dentist for a growing population. Our practice is turning away
30
patients
seconds left.
daily, and, you know, this will continue to affect our population, and there isn't going to be anyone to provide the care for these patients as they get increased cavities. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen today. Thank you.
Hi, Brian Anderson, 229 Shoreline Drive in Nagani. I'm a dentist serving the Ishpeming-Nagani area with over 15 years of experience here, including hospital-based care for children and the disabled. I'm here tonight to speak firsthand of the necessity for the continued fluoridation of our water system. Fluoride is a naturally occurring element throughout the planet that makes its way into our water sources organically. Certain areas of the country do not need to fluoridate their water. Colorado, for example, has naturally occurring fluoride in their water. Decades ago, epidemiologists discovered that tooth decay rates of these areas were significantly lower than the surrounding areas. Research determined the fluoridation of the water to be the reason. There's a well-researched benefit to fluoridation of municipal public water at 0.7 parts per million of fluoride. This is the level of fluoridation the city of Nagani and Ishpeming currently use. Too much fluoridation can cause staining of the teeth and other potential problems. It is necessary to note that any chemical or substance, sodium, potassium, water, oxygen, etc., ingested above the recommended levels can cause problems. I'm here advocating for the continued recommended dose of 0.7 parts per million. The recent attention to fluoride comes from the National Toxicology Report, which underwent 2 attempts at peer review by the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine. The report was rejected as bad science for including studies of poor quality. The 3rd attempt was brought directly to a judge in San Francisco, and he agreed with their stance. However, the argument brought before him was for fluoride levels over twice that of what is considered safe, not the recommended 0.7 parts per million. The initial water fluoridation studies done in the 1940s was shown that there was a 60% decline in the amount of cavities in children in communities where the fluoride was available in municipal water sources. In 2011, the city of Calgary in Canada discontinued their fluoridation program and saw a dramatic increase in cavities in children within 10 years. There was a significant and substantial increase in children being seen in the hospitals for IV antibiotic use, which I believe went up 700%, and the need to perform dental surgery in an operating room under general anesthesia. Many individuals do not realize that untreated decay can lead to serious consequences, including death. The bottom line is fluoridation of municipal water is a thoroughly scientifically studied public health success that will have detrimental consequences to this community for decades to come, especially to the vulnerable populations such as children, the elderly, and our special needs population. The city of Nagani has a moral obligation to protect its constituents. Taking fluoride out of the water supply will take away for some the only defense they have against cavities. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Rebecca Mino and I live at 725 Carr Street in Nagani. I'm a registered dental hygienist and a health educator for the Market County Health Department, and I've worked in dental and public health for 38 years this May. We all know that Ishpeming and Nagani add fluoride to the water. This was done in 1951 and 1953 respectfully. Ishpeming's ballot issue was in 1964. Our water authority has been monitoring and testing our water daily for 70 years. These levels are at a constant 0.7 parts per million. The water authority does add other chemicals, as Brian said. These chemicals are added to our water for prevention purposes. I have complete trust in the professionals who keep our water safe. Virginia Paulson, a well-known historian in Nagani, just published an article this week in the Mining Journal about the history of our community water supply. Please read the article. Whether or not many substances are healthful or toxic is dependent upon its dose or concentration. Such is the case with substances like vitamin A, E, and other minerals such as manganese. All of these are helpful, safe, and beneficial unless taken in high doses. We fortify bread, milk, and other food we eat along with fortifying our water. Here's another example of history to help put things into perspective. This one is about oxygen. On the periodic table, oxygen is right next to fluorine. In the 1950s, doctors gave newborn babies too much oxygen in their incubators. Sadly, this caused permanent blindness. One of the babies affected at this time was Stevie Wonder, who was born in Saginaw, Michigan. This example shows that even something as essential as oxygen can be harmful in the wrong amount. The key is using the right amount. Second, some of the media outlets and groups are twisting the facts about this report that we're all referring to. The bottom line is, fluoride in drinking water at the recommended levels of 0.7 parts per million is safe and effective and helps prevent cavities. Additionally, this study does not say fluoride in tap water lowers IQ, and in fact, it explicitly states that there's no link between normal fluoride exposure in the United States at a 0.7 and a lowering intelligence. So remember,
30 seconds remaining.
it's important to rely on the full contents of a scientific finding. The last thing that I would like to say is, if you were born on or after 1951, please ask yourself, you've been born and raised in Negaunee, you're drinking the Negaunee water, where is this supposed fluoride damaged population? Please look around you. Look at your friends, your family in this community. Look at the people in this room tonight. Look in the mirror. Do you see a crisis?
Time's
No,
up.
because it does not exist. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you for having us. My name is Allison Ladd. I work at my community dental center in Marquette. I see people from all over the UP, and I am booked out a year. I see kids in the hospital. I see the special needs people, and I see the people who can't get care anywhere else because nobody takes their insurance and they can't afford it, or they're on state insurance. They have a high carries rate, and the kids who have the juices and don't drink the tap water have a lot more decay. And the people in my practice that come from unfluoridated areas, well water, tend to have more decay. So I would implore you not to take fluoride out of water. That's it. Thank you.
You got some, where do you live?
I live in Marquette.
Okay, thank you.
I do treat people in the garden.
Any further public comment?
Hello, my name's Doris Click. Although I am not a city resident, I have worked in the city for nearly 8 years as a dental hygienist at what is now Negaunee only dental office. As a young mother of two, I'm extremely concerned about the impact of removing fluoride from the local water supply will have on our pediatric population. Access to care is already quite limited, especially for kids who often need a referral to a pediatric dentist for treatment. I feel we would be doing the community a disservice by taking away this preventative measure that is both cost effective and easily accessible.
Where do you live, I'm sorry?
I live in Harvey.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Wetton. I'm at 571 Lakewood Lane in Marquette. I am a local dentist here who works at 906 Family Dentistry in Ishpeming. I also serve as the Superior District Dental Society President, so that's our local component of the Michigan Dental Association, representing our dentists of Marquette and Alger County. Before water fluoridation was introduced, dental cavities were very prevalent and they impacted a large portion of the population, causing pain, suffering, and the need for costly dental treatment. Many people were left with no teeth at all because of this. At the appropriate dosage of 0.7 parts per million, fluoride has helped to prevent dental disease and pain for over 80 years. Fluoride remains a critical player in the prevention of dental disease, both in office and at home. Community water fluoridation is easily the most cost-effective and time-efficient way to help promote dental health in our communities, and it benefits everyone. Ending fluoridation would impact the entire community, but it would be especially harmful for our most vulnerable populations, specifically children, the elderly, and those with special needs. These members of our communities often have the most difficult time accessing or receiving dental care easily. If water fluoridation were to be eliminated from our community, we will definitely see the negative effects unravel over the years to come, even if it's not an immediate effect. This will cause increases in dental pain, causing decreased quality of life. We would also see increased burden on both the dental and medical systems and its providers, with more patients seeking treatment for dental caries, toothaches, and abscesses. Toothaches can come on quickly, and they can cause one to be unable to attend work or school, or even just complete activities of daily life. Our local dental specialists are already booking out months to a year in advance due to the demand, and there are very few general dental offices who are still accepting new patients. We are in a severe dentist shortage in our area. If we eliminate fluoride, this shortage will be exacerbated, and I expect that it will take even longer to get into a dental office once a patient is already in pain, discomfort, or they have an active infection. Finally, our dental health is connected to our systemic health in so many ways beyond what most people realize or acknowledge. When someone has a tooth infection, the infection has the possibility of spreading and becoming life-threatening. It can spread directly into the bloodstream and to the heart. This doesn't happen for every tooth, but fluoride, a decades-long scientifically proven public health aid, can help us to prevent these infections and dental disease. I urge you all to consider the grander positive effects that this can have on our entire community, especially our kids, elderly, and special needs populations. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jim Hayward, and I live at 103A East Buffalo Road in Negaunee Township. And I have been a dentist in this area for 35 years and worked both in Ishpeming and in Marquette with the Marquette County Health Department Dental Clinic, where I saw a majority of low-income children from around the UP. And I can say without any doubt at all that water fluoridation prevents tooth decay. Anyone that says anything different than that is telling an untruth. I live in the township, and because I do and didn't have fluoridated water as my children were growing up, my wife and I gave them fluoride tablets as a supplement. And that was to replace the water fluoridation and protect their teeth, which it did. But I don't think there is anybody that was more motivated than myself and my wife to be sure that our kids got those fluoride tablets every night. And so it's additional work, and in today's busy world for parents, I think it's unreasonable to expect that fluoride tablets alone are going to replace the benefits of water fluoridation. I also wanted to speak to the issue of choice. You know, we all have choices in our lives. We have personal choices in our community, and we have community or public choices that we need to make. And the decision of our communities to fluoridate our water is an extremely wise one in terms of protecting our children. And fluoridation mostly protects teeth during childhood. And that's because the teeth are mineralizing or forming down in the jawbone when our children are younger. And so the fluoride is incorporated into the enamel and dentin of the baby teeth and the permanent teeth of those children. And that's where water fluoridation is most effective. It provides a limited benefit to adults, but the majority of the benefit goes to our children. And the reduction of decay has been anywhere in a range of 25 to 40%. I have to get back to choice here because I wanted to give the example of
30 seconds remaining.
Immunizations. And we've all read about the disasters in Texas with the measles outbreak and epidemic because enough parents chose not to immunize their children against measles that not only their children are getting measles, but the effect of their illness is affecting other children in the community. So we can expect, if we avoid these health dependent practices of water fluoridation and immunization, we're going to run into significant problems in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Dave Campana, I live at 1711 Grandview Drive in Marquette. I thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I spent 38 years as a pharmacist. I worked in Lansing, Colorado, but most of my time was spent in Marquette County. I worked about 13 years at Snyder's in Ishpeming, and the rest, I bought a store in Marquette, I bought Campus Pharmacy in Marquette, I worked there. All those years, and especially in Ishpeming, I dispensed and sold a lot of fluoride. I got to know fluoride just from using it every day. The number you gotta know, and everybody's talking about, 0.7 parts per million, ppm. That is the amount of fluoride that is put into the water in Negaunee, Ishpeming, and Marquette. EPA says you could use up to 4.0 parts per million, but studies have shown 0.7, which is 1/6 of that, is effective. That's all you need. That's pretty safe. The only message I want to give you tonight, you've heard all the good things about fluoride from the dentist here. The only message I want is safe and it's effective. You know it's effective because they've all said this tonight. Every study over the last, 80 years concerning fluoride has shown it to be effective in reducing dental cavities. I mean, there's no argument there. It is effective. Is it safe? It's absolutely safe. We'll get to that later. Fluoride, in order to work best, needs to be swallowed. Brushing alone does not get your teeth cavity free. It works a lot better when you drink the water. The water is absorbed systemically, and that helps prevent cavities. Fluoride is controlled by the FDA, and we can dispense it as drops and tablets. It's considered a drug. It's the only way it's considered a drug. The fluoride that comes out of the ground and is used in the water systems is considered a mineral additive. It is not a drug. It is not a medicine. 0.7 parts per million is completely
30
safe.
seconds.
How much? 30 seconds? Okay, good. It's never caused problems or health concerns, never. The horror stories you hear about fluoride is when you use elevated levels of it. 1.2, 4, or higher. I've heard as much as 15, 16 times the amount of fluoride. So when someone tells you fluoride's a bad thing, you gotta ask them how much fluoride is involved in these things. Fluoride does not cause cancer, thyroid problems, or diminished IQ. I can go on that maybe in the next segment here. Again, you heard from the dentist,
Wrap
done,
up, Dave.
okay?
Yep.
You heard this one, thank you.
Very good, thanks, Dave.
Hello, my name is Marissa Mino. I'm a resident of Negaunee and I live at 725 Carr Street. So I'm here today to talk about science and not fear. I support community water fluoridation, not just because it's endorsed by leading health organizations like the CDC, the ADA, and the WHO, but because of decades of solid research and science to back it. One of the biggest flaws in the opposition's argument is confusing correlation with causation. It's easy to find correlations. You can line up two trends, like fluoride levels in water and a health problem, and make them look connected. But that does not mean one causes the other. For example, over the last 20 years, butter consumption in the US has gone down, and so has divorce rates in Maine. Are we going to say that margarine prevents divorce? Of course not. That's correlation, not causation. When people claim that fluoride causes various health issues based on fake charts or made-up experiences, they're often making that same mistake. They're pointing out two things happening at the same time and drawing an insane conclusion without any evidence to back it up. But fluoride, it's been extensively studied for over 75 years. Peer-reviewed research consistently shows that community water fluoridation reduces cavities by 25% or more across all age groups. That's not correlation, that's causation. proven through controlled studies and a decade of real-world public health data and research. Opponents may highlight that hydrofluorosilicic acid is a byproduct of an industry, and that sounds scary, but again, context matters. Chlorine is also a hazardous in pure form, yet we use it to keep water safe from bacteria. What matters is the dose, regulation, and scientific evidence which all support fluoride safety and effectiveness at the levels used in public water systems. The anti-fluoride arguments are often emotional, not evidence-based, and they cite individual studies that are often flawed and taken out of context, or make sweeping claims that ignore the full body of scientific research. So let's be clear. There's no credible evidence that fluoridated water causes harm at the levels used. There is an overwhelming evidence that it prevents tooth decay, especially in the vulnerable populations. And every dollar spent on fluoridation saves about $38 in dental costs. So if we care about public health, if we care about each other, if we care about protecting kids' teeth,
30 seconds remaining.
and if we care about spending taxpayer money wisely, then we should continue supporting fluoridation. Let's base our decisions not on fear or misleading correlations, but on sound science and proven benefits. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Okay.
My name is Christine Ryan. I work over in Glen for Dr. Buck's office. I worked MCDC, I worked Upper Great Lakes. I've been up here 14 years. I was a resident downstate for 22 years, and I had fluoridated water in my village water. I lived in Plumbyville near Lapeer. My concern is from the heart. I have pictures on my cell phone of 2 youngsters that just came into our office yesterday. The dad gave me the okay to show you photos if you need to see. The 15-year-old is gonna have to have a 6-year molar taken out. Her brother is gonna have 5 baby teeth taken out. It's from the heart. These kiddos need the fluoridated water. My next step, I was already over in Ishpeming about 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks. And I was asked to come over and speak, and I think I wrote a letter to maybe, from the heart, these kids need us, our population needs us. We need to, if it's regulated, I'm all for the fluoridated water. It's the things we drink, the foods we eat. Everything's tempting, and it's causing too many cavities. We're booked out. Dr. Buck's office, we're the same. I mean, we're taking new patients, but it's gonna start being limited. And, we just don't have enough dentists to take care of the cavities. And I'm really concerned. So, cause when I graduated in '88, the same was, I graduated in 1988 as a hygienist. And they said there's not gonna be cavities. And I laughed today, because they even said, because we have fluoride, we have sealants. And I look at these photos of these kids, even yesterday, and it just saddens me. It really does. I mean, we really need to help our community. Thank you. I live in Harvey.
Thank you. Any further public comment? No, then I will close public comment, and we will move on to unfinished business, seeing none. Number 7, new business. 7.1, lift station bids. And if you need a
City of Negaunee had preventative maintenance performed on all 6 lift stations in the fall of '24. Repairs and improvements were identified on 3 of the lift stations and considered during budgeting. During the winter of '24-25, additional repair work was identified at our most critical lift station, Division. 1 bid was received from Crane Engineering. $23,260 for Ann Street lift, $34,530 for Tracy lift, $29,990 for Division lift, $19,570 for Cambria, for a total of $107,650. The total without Cambria lift station, $88,080. Total without Cambria and division, $58,090. Recommendation. It is recommended from the Public Works Department that the city accept the bid from Crane Engineering without Cambria lift in the amount of $88,080. Fiscal effects for 2025, there is $75,000 budgeted in the wastewater capital improvement fund. This will require a $13,080 drawdown of fund balance from the wastewater fund. Alternative, to accept the bid from Crane Engineering without Cambria lift and division lift for a total project cost of $58,090.
You want to give some more background, or you want to do a motion first?
Sure, Mr. Mayor, I can give a quick little background. So we are asking for, as again, the recommendation of the spent, the amount of $88,000 to exclude that Cambria location. That Cambria location can hold till next year easily. That's why we're making that recommendation. We'd like to move forward with the other 3 lift stations if possible.
Alright, can I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the bid from Crane Engineering in the amount of $88,080 to exclude Cambria lift
With the drawdown,
with the drawdown.
if you could put that in your motion, please.
Of $13,080 from the fund balance from the wastewater fund.
Support that. John supports. Any further comment? Kevin? No further comment?
Why are we not doing?
Oh, John.
Thanks. Sorry.
Yeah, these are the critical locations that were identified by the staff, and seems like it's the prudent thing to do.
All right, Matt, you have a comment?
Why are we not wanting to do the Cambria lift? I mean, if you're saying the rest of the system is failing, if the manager says, you know, this one can wait till next year, it kinda sounds like, can it really, if the rest of the system, like, is Cambria newer than the rest, or is it?
From my understanding, Cambria's been worked on recently. That's why we can forego Cambria this year. We can budget it coming into the next fiscal year.
Is it planned for next year then?
Once the budget gets released, we can budget into next year's budget for the Cambria location for whatever that cost might be next year. Move on. Further conversation?
I agree with John that it's, staff has said that this is something needs to be done, and like you said, Mr. Mayor, that it's, you explained it very well, and I agree.
Tracy? No further comment. Amanda? No? All right, with that, we'll take a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All against? Yes. All right, moving on, 7.2, USDA draw number 20, Phase 1 water project. And if you will,
Enclosed is a draw number 20 in the amount of $6,716.48 for the RD draw to UP Engineers for the Phase 1 water project.
and correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, but this is almost a final balance of our Phase 1 water project. This is the last one that pretty much trickled in.
No, actually, you probably receive at least one more. We have to close this project out. However, there's a couple things we have to finish, punch lists, some concrete work, not a ton, from settling in a couple driveways, and then we also are looking at installation of a storm drain for part of the project as well. We anticipate that the project should close out by July, but that just depends on weather and availability, so.
Great. For you. All right, can I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the draw number 20 in the amount of $6,716.48 to UP engineers for phase one water project.
Any Dave seconds. Any further discussion, Amanda?
Just somebody's coming.
There'd be some, bills on still not the end of this, but this is just, get the books taken care of and get it done, straight, finishing it.
Alright, any further discussion? No? Alright, with that, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Motion passes. Alright, 7.3, WPPI loan resolution. And a little background on that.
At the December 14th, 2023 regular council meeting, the council approved a loan application for the substation in the amount of $500,000. The loan payment is budgeted in the 2025 city budget. WPPI requires this resolution to be submitted by the council.
I will entertain a motion for the loan resolution.
I support the resolution to the, how do you read this, Jeremy?
You want to read it?
Yeah, how it is for supporting what the resolution that it's being forward.
Yeah, you get the resolution. Support the resolution as.
I just, like, read the whole thing?
No.
Oh, man.
Support the resolution as presented.
Okay, I would like to support the resolution as presented.
I'll second.
Tracy seconds. Alright, any further discussion, Dave?
No, it's just, putting a bow on it and, tying it and shutting it down, or getting it done.
Tracy, anything further?
The requirement that needs to be done.
Further conversation? No. Thank you, everyone. Background, thank you. Good, right? All right, with that, I'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Motion passes. All right, moving on. Number 8, consent agenda. 8.1, minutes, March 13th, 2025, regular minutes. 8.2, claims and accounts. 8.3, revenue, expenditure, and trial balance reports. 8.4, mutual aid interlocal agreement, firefighters. 8.5, library resolution, Institute of Museum and Library Services. 8.6, Vista panel bids. 8.7, MDOT shared streets and spaces grant resolution. 8.8, assignment and assumption of developer rights, Maple Ridge Development to Wildflower Home Development. 8.9, Workers' Memorial Day Resolution. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that we approve the consent agenda.
John,
Second.
and Tracy seconds. I'm gonna take a roll call vote on this.
No.
No, we don't
Not
discuss that
consent.
consent agenda.
You wanna do a roll call?
Do a roll call, absolutely.
Councilmember Becker?
Yes.
Councilmember Howard?
Nay.
Councilmember Flowey?
Yes.
Councilmember Kangas?
Yes.
Councilmember Deets?
Yes.
Councilmember Garabate?
Yes.
Mayor Elmanin?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1. That's all.
All right, with that, moving on. Number 9, public comment. Again, public comment, 3 minutes, step at the podium, name, location, where you live.
Hi again, Carrie Plummer, 566 Bluff Street. Just want to address, obviously there are a lot of fluoride people here today, and that's why we're asking for a special meeting so we can plan and organize it. There's a lot of people on the opposed, that oppose water fluoridation, that would like to be there. And if we have one centralized meeting, that would be great. I don't know why anyone would really be opposed to that. I don't get that. When I do hear absolutely effective, absolutely safe, the data is clear. These are absolute blanket statements, and I did read, once fluoride is put into water, it is impossible to control the dose each individual receives. There are people who are susceptible to this chemical. And when someone had referenced that we add chlorine, yes, we add chlorine. If there was a better way, I would love to find something safer than chlorine. One thing you can do with chlorine is you can boil it or it can outgas. You need expensive equipment to remove fluoride. It is very, very different in that way. And when someone had mentioned that there's fortified foods, yes, but we have a choice if we don't want fortified synthetic supplements in our food source, and we just want the food itself, like whole grains or what have you. So that is a choice issue. Someone mentioned that it is or look around, like it's anecdotal, or who's suffering from lower IQs. I'm sorry, I have a lot of notes here. Look around, people are not necessarily suffering from lower IQs. I would question that. There's a lot more mentally challenged people in our community now. That has risen over decades. We don't know exactly why that is, but that should be investigated. And we do know that, I mean, if you looking around, who's really suffering in unfluoridated areas. I know a lot of people who live on have well water, don't have fluoridated water, and they're fine. There are other mechanisms for tooth decay. I have sent so many studies that actually counter what was said today, including the Lotus 2024, the Cochrane Collaboration 2024, showing little to no statistical evidence that water fluoridation is effective. I showed you studies, recent studies on the developing brain for prenatal and for people, for children who are growing. And there was one other thing, correlation doesn't equal causation. Well, yes, CWF community water fluoridation, actually tooth decay started declining before it was introduced, and I have graphs that you can see on that fluoride-free Ishpeming and Negaunee Facebook page that indicates that. There are many reasons to speculate that, but people started brushing their teeth and doing other things in the 1950s. So it's not just a one-size-fits-all water fluoridation did the trick. Thank you.
Rebecca Mino, 725 Carr Street, Negaunee. Thank you again for letting me speak. There were two other things that I didn't cover in the last 3 minutes that I just wanted to cover here. There was a study out of Australia where 90% of the population drinks fluoridated water. They fluoridate their water at 1 part per million. They did a study, at the University of Queensland and found no link between fluoridated water and IQ. With the participants that were studied, they're now at the ages of 16 and 26 years old. They found those who consistently been drinking fluoridated water had an IQ score of 1.07 points higher on average than those with no fluoride exposure. And I believe I did email that study to this council. The other thing that I didn't get to touch on that I would like to close with is, I keep hearing the word choice. There are benefits to both children and adults when you drink fluoridated water. I have been drinking fluoridated water here in the Ishpeming and Negaunee area my entire life. I would like to continue to drink the fluoridated water. If it's removed, you are taking away my choice to drink it. Fortunately, in this day and age, we all have a choice. You can drink the tap water, you can purchase bottled water, you can have your water delivered at home by a water company. Yes, you can filter the water and do reverse osmosis. You can also go to Castle's Corner in Beaver Grove, and you can fill up water jugs for free. That is an artesian well, so it is not treated. And I did call there to verify it, and they said, yep, please just don't slip when you're out there filling up your jugs. So I'm gonna say this again. We all have a choice in this day and age, so let's please keep it that way. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
Dave Campano, Marquette. Again, how can you doubt the effectiveness of fluoride when you've heard these dentists and hygienists speak about the benefits of it? To me, they're the experts. The rest of us are just opinion givers. There's a couple things, statements that are often made. This one bugs me to no end. When they say that you hear they're putting toxic materials into our water system. Here's the deal. When fluoride comes out of the ground, maybe in the fertilizer industry, it's very toxic, it's very caustic. If it comes out of the aluminum, we've heard this, the aluminum processing, again, yes, it's caustic, it's toxic. You don't wanna touch it, you don't wanna breathe it. But you take that product, you treat it, subject it to a couple of chemical reactions, and by the time you put it into our water supply, it's neutralized. Perfectly safe to drink. It goes from being very toxic to neutral. To me, that's the greatest recycling situation you can have. You take a product, you don't have to put it into the landfill, you sold it to a water plant. So yes, it's toxic right up until the time it goes into the water. So that is a great benefit. So don't think it's a bad thing. Is there products like arsenic, copper in that? Yes, there is. But you know what? It's in such minute quantities, it's perfectly safe. Arsenic is in the soil, it's in the ground, everywhere. Your kids probably get more arsenic in the sandbox than they do drinking water. So, you know, the water is safe. Hey, if you have problems, you know, call the county health department. You have a water supervisor at the Negaunee-Ishpeming plant, talk to him or her. See what they have to say about the water quality. You're gonna find it's very, very good. Thank you.
All right, last call for public comment.
Jeff Plummer again, 566 Bluff Street. I do want to say I do appreciate the dentist showing up, the hygienist. That is the true, it is difficult for a lot of people to get the dentist up here. And I agree, that's a huge crisis. And I think that's one of the, and even, you know, if you're poor, whether you have like, you know, state health care or not, it is difficult to become a new patient in a dentist. And I do appreciate their opinion, it's a professional opinion, but I think sometimes, as with not every doctor, they tend to look at stuff through the lens of their specialty. As a public citizen, we have to look at broader things, our own personal health issues, and that's the whole point when it comes to choice. And the choice would be not to medicate water. The choice to medicate water and then make people who don't want to take it out, it's really kind of tipping that whole choice thing on its head. The idea is public medication, and that's why a lot of Utah, the state of Utah, just banned fluoridation. People, they did in order to appease people who want fluoride, they do provide fluoride tablets, fluoride-containing products, which even lower income people, toothpaste, most toothpaste at the grocery store have fluoride. Most of the research, if you look, and we're talking PubMed, we're talking the NCBI, we're talking federal studies in peer-reviewed studies, show that topical fluoride is about the only way fluoride makes a significant reduction in caries. There is some minor evidence that water fluoridation might have a tiny effect, but then you have to weigh that against all of the negative health outcomes that many people experience. I think it's the CDC even says you should not make formula with fluoridated tap water. It's toxic to babies. Fluoridated water is toxic to the unborn baby. This is all evidence in peer-reviewed government studies. The EPA is going to be reviewing fluoride soon again, and they're going to do a deeper dive in the toxicology of fluoride. So the choice issue, it's all about informed consent. And if the government is putting something in your water that you didn't agree to, that's not informed consent. It's a philosophical choice. Our son had fluorosis in his teeth when he was really young. We were doing a lot of filtering. We were doing a lot of filtering, but we weren't doing like cooking water. And his doctor, Marquette, at the time said, "Oh, are you guys from Negaunee?" He thought we were from Negaunee. He says, because we were seeing more fluorosis in Negaunee, not just because there was some higher levels, he thought at that time. Once we started, we filter all of our water, our cooking water. His fluorosis went away, it resolved, and he has extremely healthy teeth. He has one adult cavity, 17 years old. No fluoride for at least a dozen or more years. So thank you again, appreciate it.
Terry Bull, 400 Muscadine, Nagano. I practiced here for 45 years. Fluorosis does not go away.
With that, any further public comment? All right, with that, I'll close public comment, moving on to council comment. I'll start with Amanda this month. What you got, Amanda?
Okay. Well, nothing really comes to mind except fluoride right now. I would be absolutely in favor of having a special meeting, where everybody can, you know, have a chance to speak. People who can't make it to city council meetings to, I mean, really, it's not very, we're not affecting anything if people are just coming here for public comment for 3 minutes. We really should have a special meeting on this issue, and I think that that would put a lot of minds at ease on both sides. So that's my 2 cents.
All right. Tracy?
I wanna thank the Nagani Police Department for everything they've been doing for our community, and they really should get more recognition for what they do.
Dave?
Okay, I wanna end this meeting on a lighter note. Next Thursday, I'm off from Myrtle Beach. So if you're anywhere blocking 480 or 41, get out of my way because I'm going right through it. Okay, I'm sick of snow, as is everyone, so that's all I got.
Thanks, Dave. Kevin, what you got?
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who came out tonight, pro or against. I appreciate your perspectives, and thank you again.
Matt?
Well, the minutes were wrong from the last meeting. There was a vote there, it was not unanimous, and I said something. You kinda tried to steamroll me there, that wasn't cool. And then when we talk about the Vista, you know, there's a lot of talk between restoration and then remodeling. And I'm trying to find out, you know, from what I'm told, we'll go through the historical society or whatever from through the state to get grants or gifts or whatever back from the taxpayer that we've paid already or they plan to steal from us in the future. But when you restore something, you take it back. So if it's a historical and we're going back, we like, don't you pick a time period? Or you say, well, we're gonna go back and make it like it was when it was new. A remodel, you can make it into whatever you want. So, you know, I see like, you know, oh, we're gonna save the historic Vista Theater, but is it really gonna be the way it exactly was, or as close to it as we can get? Or are we just, you know, spending money, you know, spinning our wheels and down the road, it never gets done because it keeps changing, it, you know, like, how are we getting started on this project without, you know, usually you have your plans, right? You start with a set of plans, here's the drawing. Now we make it or change it, whatever, but, so that's just something to think about as we go keep messing with this stuff, everything really. But when you talk historical and stuff like that, you kinda need a time period, or you have to go back to the beginning.
All right, thank you. John?
Just to echo Kevin's sentiments, thanks to all of you for showing up tonight and sharing your thoughts and opinions. And, you know, I'm sure to Dave's note, all of us are looking forward to being able to maybe park on the street once again here. So be nice for the spring weather this weekend.
Thanks, John. As for me, yeah, I will echo that as well. Thank you everyone for coming out. I don't know where this will go. I'm sure there'll be some conversation about where we want to take this and how far we want to go with this. But we'll we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And, we'll wait for some of these studies to come out and see what happens, but, throughout this council, I'm sure there'll be some conversation to see if we were gonna have a special meeting or not. And then, good luck, Dave, in your travels. I know what you're going down there to do. Yeah, so. Dave's going golfing. All right, that's all I have for you. Night, all right, Mr. Heffern.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I have two things for tonight. One, May 27th, you will be, you'll be actually given an invitation, but May 27th at 5 p.m., we are gonna have a ribbon cutting at our new electrical substation. Public will also be invited to that. I believe the substation will be operational prior to that, but we're kind of working through a couple weeks to make sure everything operates properly before we disconnect from the UPCO substation. And then soon thereafter, we will be off that substation and that one will be dismantled. So you're welcome to attend that. Ribbon cutting, that's quite the historical event for Negaunee. We'll be independent on our own with our own substation. In addition to that, we'll be able to save ratepayers money over time after the substation is paid off. We've added a lot of capacity to the city for growth and also reliability with redundancy and measures in case something goes down. We all see what happened in northern Lower Michigan and how it even affected the safeness area. We can't have that happen here. You're on your own for a while. That's the way these things work in disasters. So hopefully with our redundancy in place, we'll be able to safeguard ourselves from not having power for days to weeks until somebody can come and fix it. And then the other thing I will mention, give some kudos to Travel Marquette and Sail. They've created a new program. There's a program guide they have here from Marquette County. They received a grant to be able to go around the county and assess businesses like hotels, restaurants, shops to see how they are for accessibility for people with disabilities, not just wheelchairs. And they've completed this little booklet here. They're gonna do more businesses, as they said to me. And then they will have this, they'll have some programming out for everybody to know this that really affects them at this time. And they'll have this sticker, which you really can't see right now, but it goes on the window, so it shows that this building has been certified and reviewed. So you can either have your little booklet, you can go online, or when you drive by, you can see it. But this is a great tool for those who do have disabilities. I will remind everybody, we all hopefully one day will get old, and maybe we'll have a disability too. So working on these things now is just a benefit for all of us in the future.
All right, thanks, Nate. Mr. City Attorney.
You know, I wasn't gonna say anything, but I go to a lot of municipal meetings, and it's always refreshing to come back to Negaunee because of the professionalism of this board and the community engagement that I don't always see. So, having had a particularly trying couple weeks, I'm really, really glad to be in Negaunee.
Excellent, well, I'm glad to have you, thank you. With that, can I hear a motion for adjournment, please?
Second.
Okay, so, all in favor?